Alabama residents often despise the armadillo, not because it's aggressive, but because it tears up lawns searching for insects. In Alaska, mosquitoes are the real menace, buzzing, biting, and outnumbering humans by the millions in the summer months. Arizona's most hated might be the bark scorpion, a venomous pest that sneaks into homes and delivers painful, dangerous stings. Arkansans frequently express their frustration toward feral hogs, which destroy crops and ecosystems with their rooting and aggressive behavior. In California, it's the coyote, especially in suburban areas where pet attacks have created widespread fear and resentment. Colorado residents often clash with prairie dogs, seen as nuisances for damaging landscapes and agricultural fields, despite their ecological importance. Connecticut's most disliked animal is arguably the eastern coyote, blamed for pet disappearances and threatening native wildlife. Delaware's Canada goose population causes headaches due to their mess, aggression, and domination of public parks and golf courses. In Florida, the invasive Burmese python earns top billing, devastating native wildlife in the Everglades and proving nearly impossible to control. Georgia often sees animosity directed at the beaver, whose dam-building habits flood lands and damage property. Hawaii residents frequently target the coqui frog, whose deafening nocturnal calls have disrupted island peace since their accidental introduction. In Idaho, the common raccoon is often loathed for its destructive scavenging and ability to invade homes and barns. Illinois has a rat problem, particularly in Chicago, earning them the unwanted title of the most hated urban animal in the state. Indiana's white-tailed deer, while iconic, are heavily disliked for causing car accidents and damaging crops in rural communities. Iowa's least loved animal may be the skunk, primarily because of the overwhelming smell and tendency to den under porches. Kansas residents are at odds with coyotes, especially livestock owners who suffer frequent predation and property damage. Kentuckians often dread copperhead snakes, venomous reptiles that blend into leaf litter and occasionally bite unsuspecting hikers. Louisiana sees significant issues with nutria, large swamp rodents that destroy wetlands and undermine levees with their burrowing. Maine's black flies are universally hated during spring. They swarm humans, bite painfully, and leave itchy welts. Maryland locals often dislike the invasive mute swan, which outcompetes native species and behaves aggressively toward people. Massachusetts residents have growing frustrations with turkeys, large, fearless birds that aggressively approach humans in suburban neighborhoods. Michigan residents often complain about the brown, marmorated stink bug, which invades homes and releases a terrible odor when disturbed. Minnesotans dread the deer tick, infamous for spreading Lyme disease and other tick-borne illnesses. In Mississippi, fire ants top the list due to their aggressive bites and tendency to infest yards and homes. Missouri's beavers make enemies by causing unexpected flooding and damaging trees with their relentless gnawing. In Nebraska, badgers are resented for digging large holes that pose risks to livestock and farm equipment. Nevada residents often hate pigeons, especially in urban areas where droppings damage property and spread disease. New Hampshire's porcupines chew through wood structures, vehicle wiring and trees, frustrating homeowners and foresters alike. New Jersey is plagued by the spotted lanternfly, an invasive insect that threatens agriculture and leaves sticky residue everywhere. New Mexico's tarantulas spark fear in many, even though they're generally harmless and misunderstood. In New York, rats dominate the hate list, especially in densely populated areas where infestations are common. North Carolina's least liked species is likely the mosquito, which thrives in humid climates and spreads illness. North Dakota farmers loathe the pocket gopher for its extensive burrowing and damage to crops and irrigation systems. Ohio's Canada geese stir public frustration for their droppings and territorial behavior in parks and suburbs. Oklahoma residents regularly battle feral hogs, whose destruction of farmland and aggression create major problems. Oregon's most hated animal might be the nutria, an invasive rodent with destructive wetland habits and alarming reproduction rates. Pennsylvania's white-tailed deer draw ire for spreading ticks, damaging gardens, and increasing vehicle collisions. Rhode Island's least loved animal may be the house sparrow, which competes aggressively with native bird species. South Carolina contends with the invasive Argentine ant, which forms enormous colonies and invades homes. South Dakota's skunks are particularly disliked for their smell and frequent roadkill appearances. Tennessee residents often fear and hate venomous snakes, especially copperheads found near homes and hiking trails. Texas is overrun by feral hogs, a destructive and aggressive invasive species costing millions in agricultural damages annually. Utah's raccoons cause frustration as cunning invaders of homes and relentless dumpster divers. Vermont's black flies rival any pest in irritation, swarming outdoor activities and leaving behind painful bites. Virginia's least favorite might be the coyote, which has moved into rural and suburban areas, preying on pets and livestock. Washington battles with the European starling, an invasive bird that displaces native species and damages crops. West Virginia often sees hate directed at timber rattlesnakes, which some fear despite their ecological value and reclusive nature. Wisconsin's white-tailed deer draw mixed feelings, beloved by hunters but blamed for crop losses and car accidents. Wyoming's prairie dogs are commonly loathed for their large colonies that damage ranchland and attract predators. Hated animals often reflect human-animal conflict rather than any inherent villainy, rooted in damaged property, health threats, or simple fear. Despite animosity, many of these species play important ecological roles and are only responding to human development or climate shifts. Education is key in transforming perceptions. Many so-called nuisance animals are critical to biodiversity and natural balance. In some cases, removing a hated species can have unintended consequences, such as pest outbreaks or prey imbalances. Conservationists advocate for coexistence strategies that focus on prevention, deterrence, and understanding rather than eradication. Rethinking our relationship with disliked animals allows for healthier ecosystems and reduces costly conflicts over time. Every creature, no matter how unpopular, has a story, and sometimes that story starts with listening before judging. By replacing fear with curiosity and frustration with understanding, we can reshape how we coexist with the most hated animals in America.